Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we continue to read Bhagavad-Gita book, a book written by His Glorious Sachi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And today we will read verse 14, 15 and 16. Let's start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Anadbhavanti Bhutani Prajanyat Anasambhaha Yajnat Bhavati Parjanyo Yajnah karma samudbhavaha. Translation. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna sacrifice, and the yajna is born of prescribed duties. Purport. Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushana, a great commentator of the Bhagavad-Gita, writes as follows: Ye indriyani agatyavasthitam yajnam sarveshwaram vishnum abhyarchyata tak chesham ashnantitena tat dehayatram sampadyanti te santah sarveshwarasya yajna purushasya bhaktah sarva kilbishair anadikala vivrithair atmanubhava pratibandhakair nikhilaih papair vimuchyante. The Supreme Lord the Supreme Lord, who is known as the Yajna Purusha, or the personal beneficiary of all sacrifices, is the master of all the demigods, who serves him as the different limbs of the body serves the whole. Demigods like Indra, Kandra, and Varuna are appointed officers who manage material affairs, and the Vedas direct sacrifices to satisfy these demigods so that they may be placed to simply air, light, and water sufficiently to produce food grains. When Lord Krishna is worshipped, the demigods, who are different limbs of the Lord, they also automatically worshipped. Therefore, there is no separate need to worship the demigods. For this reason, the demigods of the Lord who are in Krishna consciousness offer food to Krishna and then eat, a process which nourishes the body spiritually. By such action, not only are past sinful reactions in the body vanquished, but the body becomes immunized to all contamination of material nature. Then there is an epidemic disease, and antiseptic vaccine protects a person from the attack of such an epidemic. Similarly, food offered to the Lord Vishnu and then taken by us makes us sufficiently resistant to material affection, and one who is accustomed to this practice is called a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, a person or in Krishna consciousness who eats only food offered to Krishna can counteract all reactions of past material infections, which impediment to the process of self-realization. On the other hand, one who does not do so continues to increase the volume of sinful action, and this prepares the next body to resemble hawks and dogs, not suffer the result reactions of all sin. The material world is full of contaminations, and one who is immunized by accepting prasadam of the Lord food offered to Vishnu is safe from the attack, whereas one who does not to do becomes subjected to contamination. Food grains or vegetables are factually eatables. The human being eats different kinds of food, grains, vegetables, fruits, etc. And animals eat the refuse of the food grains and the vegetables, grass, plants, etc. Human beings who are accustomed to eating meat and fish must also depend on the product of vegetation in order to eat the animals. Therefore, ultimately, we have to depend on the product of the field and not on the production of big factories. The field production is due to production is due to sufficient rain from the sky, and such rains are controlled by demigods like Indra, Sun, Moon, etc. And they are all servants of the Lord. The Lord can be satisfied by sacrifices can be satisfied by sacrifices. Therefore, one who cannot perform them will find himself in scar scarcity. That is law of nature. Yajna specifically, the Sankirtana Yajna prescribed for this age must therefore be performed to save us at least from scarcity of food, supply. Next verse. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishthitam. Translation. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. Transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. Translation. Yajnartha karma, or necessity of work for the satisfaction of Krishna only, is more expressly stated in this verse. If we have to work for the satisfaction of the Yajna Purusha, Vishnu, then we must find out the direction of work in Brahman or the transcendental Vedas. The Vedas are therefore codes of working directions. Anything performed without the direction of the Vedas is called vikarma or unauthorized or sinful work. Therefore, one should always take direction from the Vedas to be saved from the direction of work. As one has to work in ordinary life by the direction of the state, one similarly has to work under direction of the supreme state of the Lord. Such directions in the Vedas are directly manifested from the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this said, Acharya Mahato Bhutasya Vishvasitam etat yad Rigvedo Yajurveda Samavedo Dharvangirasaha. The four Vedas, namely the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda, are all emanations from the breathing of the great personality of Godhead. Brihad Aranyakopanishad. The Lord, being omnipotent, can speak by breathing air. For us, it is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. The Lord has on, on omnipotence to perform through, through each of his senses the actions of all other senses. In other words, the Lord can speak through, through his breathing, and he can imper, imper, im, impregnate, impregnate by his eyes. In fact, it is said that he glanced over material nature and thus fathered all living entities. After creating or impregnating the conditioned soul into the womb of material nature, he gave him directions in the Vedic wisdom as to how such conditioned soul can return home back to Godhead. He should always remember that the conditioned soul in material nature are, mm, are all eager of material enjoyment. But the Vedic directions are so made that one can satisfy one's perverted de- desires, then return to Godhead, leaving finished this so-called enjoyment. It is a chance for the conditioned soul to attain liberation. Therefore, the conditioned soul must try to follow the process of yajna by becoming Krishna consciousness. And those who have not followed the Vedic injunctions may adopt the principles of Krishna consciousness, and that will take the place of performance of Vedic yajnas or karma. And next verse. Evang pravartitam sakram nanuvartayati hayah aghayur indriyaramo mokham partha sajivati. Translation. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice that established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin, living only for the satisfaction of the senses. Such a person lives lives in vain. Purport. The Mammonist philosophy of work very hard and enjoy sense gratification is condemned herein by the Lord. Therefore, for those who want to enjoy this material world, the above mentioned circle of performing yajnas is absolutely necessary. One who does not follow such regulations in living as a very risky life is living a very risky life, being condemned more and more. By nature's law, this human form of life is specifically meant for self-realization, is either of the through is either of the three ways, namely karma yoga, jnana yoga, jnana yoga, or bhakti yoga. There is no necessity of rapidly rigidly following the performance of the prescribed yajnas or the transcendentalists for the transcendentalists who are above vice and virtue, but those who are engaged in sense gratification require purification by the above mentioned circle of yajna performance. There are different kinds of activities. Those who are not Krishna consciousness are certainly engaged in sensory consciousness. Therefore, they need to execute pious work. The yajna system is planned in such a way that sensory conscious persons may satisfy their desires without becoming entangled in the reactions of sense gratificatory work. The prosperity of the world depends not on our own efforts but on the background arrangement of the Supreme Lord, directly carried out by the demigods. Therefore, the yajnas are directly named at the particular demigods mentioned in the Vedas. Indirectly, it is a practice of Krishna consciousness, because then, when one masters the performance of yajnas, one is sure to become Krishna consciousness. But if by performing yajnas one does not become Krishna consciousness, such principles are counted as only moral codes. One should not, therefore, limit this progress only to the point of moral codes, but should transcend them to attain Krishna consciousness. So, a very important point from this verses, I can say that is we have to do everything on our life for Krishna's enjoy, for pleasure to Krishna. If we do not like this, we will live life all in sin. We have to offer our food for the Lord before we start eating this. Before we start taste this food, we have to offer this food first of all to the Lord. And when we're cooking this food, we have to think that, oh, this is food for the Lord. I will offer this to the Lord, and how Krishna will enjoy to this. I to take on these dishes more sugar or other spice or salt or potato, but cucumber or other. So anyway, we have to do anything in our life for the Lord. If we think, we have to think for the Lord, because if we don't, if we want to live in happy peace and enjoy, and we must to we have to perform the yajnas. And if we want to live happy, just a material life, we have to do performing the yajnas. And Srila Prabhupada write on this part that we have to perform yajnas once is sure to become Krishna consciousness. We have to perform this yajnas for the Lord, not only not for sense enjoyment. We have to think for the Lord. And the yajna, what is the yajnas for our age? Kali Yuga. This is Sankirtan Yagna. When we, with other devotees, other people, take together and sing this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, for the Lord enjoy, for the Krishna's enjoy. And we have to remember about this every time, and take all that we can to remember about the Lord every time and never forget about him. So that is all for today. Thank you for watching this video till the end, and see you next time. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.